So we all know that historically we had times in Dubai when people were queuing to buy a property, and the least thing people could think of is the SPA that they sign upon buying a property. So everyone was signing literally without reading. And therefore, developers did not make any efforts to explain what's on the SPA, and they did not even show any flexibility to reason with those rare cases where a buyer was questioning certain clauses on the SPA. Now the market is undergoing a major change, I think, and as we all know, it's a buyer's market today. And I think the changes that are taking place in the market are very healthy for Dubai market on the medium and long run, because it's not reasonable for everyone or almost everyone in the market to buy properties worth of millions and tens of millions without reading the SPA that governs the purchase process from the day that you buy the property all the way until the day you sell the property. So the market is maturing, and so investors, and I think every single investor or property buyer must read and understand the SPA, understands the commitments and the rights and the obligations stated on the SPA before making a commitment with any developer. And developers who don't want to cooperate should not even deserve to be part of this market. Now, this subject can be very long, and I'm sure you can discuss it with a lawyer who can give you far more detailed and sophisticated opinion on SPAs. But one of the most critical and classic clauses that you see across the board in all SPAs is the handover. So most of SPAs, it states that when you go and take handover for your property, the minute you get the handover notice, your service charges starts counting. So although from the handover notice until you take the actual position, it could be a month or two where you're paying service charges and you're not using the property. In addition to this, if it turns out to be that you have a list of snags that has to be done in the property, you're still charged the service charges, and they will probably push you to take the key and make the final payment, and they may take few or several months to fix and rectify the snags. Now, I'm not generalizing. It's not what's happening in the market in every case, but this is a risk that every buyer should factor when signing the SPA. So I'll show you a clause that we recently discussed with one of the major developers in Dubai, and we made it a deal breaker. We said, you either do it or we don't basically buy. So in most cases, when you look at certain verticals of the SPA, although the SPA is approved by Dubai Land Department, the developers can't just create any SPA and give it to clients to sign, but the land departments will not interfere in the commercial aspect of the SPA, especially when it's related to service charges and taking handover. If you're agreeing on certain commercial terms, you can't do much with the developers, and you can't go really through a battle at the time you're happy to take handover of your property. But what we did with this clause is that we said we're gonna do a pre-snagging or pre-inspection visit to the apartment. Just make sure that we list down all the snags and all the defects. I hope not much will appear. And then we hand over the snagging to the developer. And only once all snags are rectified, then only we take the keys, and then only the service charges will start counting. So in short, two elements to this. One is that you should not take your key unless snags are rectified. And two, basically service charges should only start counting once you take your key, not once you receive the handover notice. This is a quick example of what we edited in this SPA. So normally you only have what's so-called the handover date, which is the day you come, you inspect, and they're most likely to push you to take the key on the same day after they take your comments. So here we've asked for the inspection date, which is basically the day that we go and we inspect and we make sure that we list down all the snags, and the developer will only call us for the handover date once the snags are done. Now, needless to say, the snags are not limited to the visual, to what we see with your eyes. You need to hire a professional inspector who can come. There are special tools and techniques to inspect a property, where you do thermographic imaging, you check the water pressure, you check the AC flow, you check in the event of villas, you check the swimming pool, so you check the rooftop, you check the mechanical room in case there is one. So it's a very critical aspect that every single real estate investor should be mindful of before signing on an SPA. And honestly, if the developer does not agree to accommodate this, just don't go for this developer.